Hello, boys and girls in the blue room. It's Inga. I wanted to share with you a review of our Handwriting Without Tears alphabet. And I thought I would pair it up with an alphabet of birds as well, since we're studying birds at the moment. Since this is our last week and our last letter, I thought we could use a review. So here's our review. We will start with the letter A. A is for albatross. Albatross starts with the letter A. Here we go. Big line, slide down from the middle. Frog jump to the top. Big line, slide down to the opposite corner. And little line across the middle. The letter A. Let's try it one more time. Big line, slide down from the middle. Frog jump to the top. And big line, slide down to the opposite corner. Little line across the middle. The letter A. Now comes the letter B. And our bird is the booby bird. Big line, slide down from the starting corner. Frog jump to the top. Little curve to the middle from the top, and little curve from the middle to the bottom. The letter B. Let's try it one more time. Big lines go down from the starting corner. Frog jump to the top. Little curve to the middle, and little curve to the bottom. The letter B. The letter C. Oh, I couldn't help myself. I've got two for the letter C. The chickadee, because it's our Massachusetts state bird, and the cardinal, because we see him and her a lot as well. So the letter C is very simple. It's just a big curve down. Okay. Let's try that one more time. Whew, that's tough. There we go. Big curve. The letter C. The letter D. D is for, it's right there, duck. This is a mallard duck. It's a type of duck, but it is, duck starts with the letter D. Big line down from the starting corner, frog jump to the top, and then we take a big curve and go down. The letter D. Let's try it one more time. Big line down from the starting corner, frog jump to the top, and big curve down to the bottom. The letter D. Next comes what, boys and girls, in the alphabet? Do you know? It's the letter E. E is for eagle. This is a bald eagle, but the word eagle, E, starts with the letter E. We'll start with the big line down, frog jump to the top, and then we start at the top, little line across the top, little line across the middle, and little line across the bottom, the letter E. Let's try it one more time. Big line down, frog jump to the top, little line across the top, little line across the middle, and little line across the bottom, the letter E. Next comes F, the letter F. F is for finch. This is a goldfinch and this is a house finch, but they're both finches. F. Big line down from the starting corner, frog jump to the top, little line across the top, and little line across the middle, the letter F. Let's try it one more time. Big line down, frog jump to the top, little line across the top, and little line across the middle, the letter F. After F comes what, my friends? The letter G. G is for goose, and G is actually for those cute little yellow fluffy things called goslings. And I couldn't help myself, but I also had to do the great blue heron. Great starts with the letter G as well. We start with a big curve, and then we do a little line and a little line across the letter G. Let's try it one more time. Big curve, little line, and little line, the letter G. Next comes the letter H. H is for hummingbird. And guess what, boys and girls? You know my great blue heron? Well, the word heron starts with the letter H as well. Big line down, big line down in the opposite corner, and then little line across the middle. Ready? We'll try it one more time. Big line down on the opposite side, and little line across the middle, the letter H. Next comes the letter I. I is for an ibis. We start big line down from the middle, frog jump to the top, little line across the top, and little line across the bottom. Let's try it again. Big line down, frog jump to the top, little line across the top, and little line across the bottom, the letter I. Now look at the difference, boys and girls. I don't see any of the handwriting without tears shapes. That's because there's two letters that we don't use them for, because they don't actually fit on our shapes here. But we can use our finger for this. This is the letter J, and this is a junco. Juncos come in the winter, and they have a beautiful tail that fans out with long stripes of white, so you can really see them. So we go down and turn, and then we put a little line across the top. We do it again over here. We go down from the middle and turn and do a little line across the top, the letter J. Next, boys and girls, comes the letter K. K is for kingfisher. He's one of my favorite birds. He's a fishing bird. He dives into the water to catch fish for dinner. So here we go. We go big line down, frog jump to the middle, and we go frog jump to the top. We go big line, slide down to the middle, and then slide down again, the letter K. Let's do it one more time. Big line down, frog jump to the to the top, slide down with your little line, and slide down again with your little line, the letter K. All right, here comes the letter L. L is for loon. And the loons are really sweet. Look they carry their babies in their wings. Just love that. So sweet. Big line down. Frog jump back to the top. No, we don't frog jump to the top. We go big line down and we stay down there. And we go right across with our little line. Silly, Inga. Let's try that again. Did I confuse you? I confused me. Big line down and a little line across the bottom. That's not tricky at all. Kind of flows, doesn't it? My little frog was sitting over there waiting for me. All right, the meadowlark starts with the letter M, meadowlark. This has 1, 2, 3, 4 big lines. Big line down. Now we're going to frog jump to the top. And then we slide down to the middle, slide back up, and go straight down to the opposite corner. Was that a lot, wasn't it, boys and girls? Let's try it again. Big line down, frog jump to the top. Then we slide down to the middle, slide up, and go straight down. The letter M. M is for meadowlark. N is for nuthatch. Nuthatches walk down the tree. They're the only birds that walk down a tree. Just like that. They're so cool. You might have thought I had the picture upside down, but I don't. All right, here we go. The N only has 3 big lines. Big line down, straight down, frog jump to the top. Then we slide down to the opposite corner and go straight up with the 3rd big line. Let's try that again. Big line down, frog jump to the top, big line slide down, and then go straight up to the opposite corner, the letter N. Okay, O. O is next. O is for owl. There are so many different kinds of owls we talked about this year. We talked about, this is the barred owl. There's the barn owl. There's the great horned owl. There's the saw-whet owl. There's the snowy owl. Oh, owls are awesome. And there's also the osprey. An osprey is a fishing bird like a kingfisher, but he's much bigger. He also fishes for his prey. The letter O. You need a big piece to make the letter O. Look at this. You go big curve, and you go all the way around with a second big curve all the way back to the top. Big curve, and then big curve back up to the top. Let's see if I can do it again for you. Big curve, all the way down, and then all the way back around. Those 2 big curves, they don't quite fit on our blue rectangle, do they? But that's how you do it. Sometimes things are not just perfect, but it works anyway. All right, the letter P. P is for pelican. Look, a pelican gets fish too. See, it puts it in its big sack in its mouth. All right, we go big line down, frog jump to the top, and then we go from the top and we do little curve to the middle. Pelican. Let's try it again. Big line down, frog jump to the top, and we start up here and make our little curve go down. The letter P. What comes after P? Q. All right, here we go. Big curve, and just like the letter O, we go down and around and back up, and then we add, boys and girls, a little line right here. Q. Oh, I forgot to tell you about the bird. It's a quail. This is a Californian quail. Quail. It's a field bird. Let's see if we can do this again. And remember, we needed a bigger piece to make the letter Q. So we're going to move this over, and we're going to start again. Big curve, go all the way down and back around, and then put the little line across the bottom on the right. The letter Q. Q, what comes next? The letter R. R is a sound. The letter R. R is for a bird we're seeing all the time around here. It's a robin, and look, it has a worm in its mouth. They're always hunting for worms in the grass. So we have big line down from the starting corner, frog jump to the top, and then we do a little line, a little curve to the middle, and a little line down. Let's do that again. Big line down from the starting corner, frog jump to the top, little curve to the middle, and little line slide down. The letter R. After R comes S. S is for sandpiper. It's a sand bird. Hunts for little clams and mussels at the edge of the ocean. and it can run really, really fast. So the letter S. S is little curve and then turn and little curve the other way. The letter S. Let's try it again. Little curve from the middle and then little curve, turn and go the other way. Perfect. The letter S. After S comes T. T, tufted titmouse. This is a tufted titmouse. And a tufted titmouse says, Peter, 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 which starts with the letter P. I don't know why he says that. Anyway, we start from the middle. We go big line down. We frog jump to the top, and we go big little line across the top like that. Try it again. Big line down the middle, frog jump to the top, and little line across the top. The letter T. I have something sad to tell you, boys and girls. Try as I may, there are no birds that start with the letter U. There are letter U's in different birds, like the blue jay has a U right there, but it starts with a B and a J. But I see a U, but there is not one bird that starts with the letter U. And this is also one of those handwriting without tears letters that we don't use the wood pieces for, because it doesn't work that way. We just start with kind of a big line and we turn and we come back up. See how it's gray? It doesn't show the letter pieces. But we can do it with our finger on here too. We go big line, we go down, and then we just curve and come back up. But see, it's not the same size as our whole sheet. And so they ask that you do it with your finger and not the wood pieces. Partially because, see, it doesn't fit. When you start doing this and this and this, it just doesn't fit right. So just use your finger. And remember, go down, turn, and come back up. The letter U. You can remember that. Your brains work so well. All right. The letter V is for Vireo. That's a sweet little bird. So we start with a big line at the starting corner. We slide down and we slide right back up to the opposite corner. The letter V. Let's try that one more time. Big line, slide down, and then slide right back up to the opposite corner. The letter V. V, and then comes W. Look, how many big lines? 1, 2, 3, 4. Woodpecker starts with the letter W. Let's see if I can find 4 big lines, and we'll give it a go. We start at the starting corner. Big line, slide down, slide up, slide down, slide up. It's like 2 V's together, isn't it? Let's try it again. Big line, slide down, slide up, slide down, and slide back up. The letter W. Next comes the letter X. X is for Xenops. This is Xenops. Look at that little fluffy bird. Cute and brown. All right. 2 big lines. Big line, slide down to the opposite corner. Then we frog jump all the way to that corner. And we do big line, slide down the opposite corner. The letter X. X marks the spot. Xenops. Big line, slide down. Frog jump to the opposite corner. And then big line, slide down again. The letter X. 2 more. The letter Y. This is a yellow throat. Beautiful tail and a yellow throat. It's also for the word yarn. So we start in the opposite corner. We go big line, slide down, and then we frog jump to the opposite corner, and we go little line, slide to the middle. Actually, you're supposed to start with a little line. Let's try that again. You start in the starting corner, little line, slide down, frog jump to the opposite corner, and big line, slide down. That's what it says. We're supposed to start with a little one. Little line, slide down, frog jump to the opposite corner, and big line, slide down. The letter Y. One more letter. This was a hard letter to find a bird for, my friends. I had to improvise, okay? This is called a zone-tailed hawk. Hawk starts with the letter H, but the only bird that had a Z in it was a zone-tailed hawk. Look at those beautiful feathers when it's flying. All right. We start with a little line this time from the starting. And then we take our big line and we slide down. And then we take our little line and go straight across. Zone-tailed hawk. Try it again. Little line across the top, slide down to the bottom, and little line across the bottom. The letter Z. That is it, boys and girls. A through Z with our handwriting without tears pieces. A big line, a little line, a big curve, and a little curve. Those are the pieces we use to make our letters. I hope you liked our review. Have fun writing all your words and your name and making sentences as you go further. Ta-ta for now. Bye.